All right. I'm so excited about the next person I'm about to introduce. So I'll just read from the script before I just keep going on. All right. Gloria Tucker Kennedy is originally from Starkville, Mississippi. Her most important role model and mentor is her mother, Miss Nettie Williams, who taught her that the way a woman lives her life before her children and God is more important and speaks louder than anything she could ever tell them. And Gloria has committed to living her life that way. And for those who know her, knows that she embodies the very words that her mother poured into her. She was given the opportunity by Mr. James Stokes to become a volunteer as part of the Kids in Action movement, and this has helped to shape her into the volunteer that she is today. She is a graduate of Kankakee High School and went on to serve 8 years in the Army Reserve as an administrative specialist. After that, she had just about enough of the combat boots, so she removed them and then went on to receive a degree in business management and marketing. But she didn't stop there, and she is currently pursuing her educational goals at ONU. She is married to Director Kennedy, and they have 2 children, Malcolm and Olivia, and 2 grandchildren. In 2015, Gloria Tucker Kennedy was elected as first Ward Alderman. That's something worth clapping about. Girl power. There is no doubt that Gloria is committed to the prosperity of the city of Kankakee and will work hard to meet the needs of the First Ward. I will end this with her favorite quote by Mr. Roy Disney of Walt Disney, which says, "It's not hard to make decisions once you know your values." Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you my sister in military arms and Alderwoman Gloria Tucker Kennedy.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I would say I'm nervous, but I'm not. I would say I'd be quick, but I won't. I met these 2 people, and it's just amazing. God sends people to you at the right time, every time. I met Andre a few years back when he was coming to the school to check on his son, which to me it meant a lot because of the fact that anytime a man is involved in his child's life, that says a lot about him. And a year or so ago, I met Melissa. I met the 2 of them together, and that same warm spirit about the 2 of them, it's never cooled off. It's been the same for me every time I've seen them, the smiles, the hugs. And I just want to say thank you all for taking the initiative to pull together women to spotlight the women of our community, because it's important. A lot of times we don't take time to notice what we have right here at home. We want to go abroad, but we have it right here at home. So, wow. Ms. Smith, thank you. Motivational speaker. You know, Kankakee High School produces a lot of young people that go on to do great things all over the world, and they're recognized everywhere except home. So again, thank you. And your mother. Thank you, Tanya. All right, so life started for me, as Melissa said, in November of 1960-something, down in, we grew up in a little town called Crawford, Mississippi. Some of you know something about Mississippi. My parents, R.W. Tucker, and my mother, Nettie Harrell Tucker at the time. My 2 wonderful brothers, Paul and Casey. Well, my family moved to the Kankakee area in the early 70s, and that's where life kind of started for me here. That's where the roots started to deepen. I attended Kankakee High School, graduated in 1986. I didn't give it 100, but I gave it the best I had. Moved on to decide to do some other things in my life. One of the big things for me in the summertime as a junior high and a middle school student was to be a part of this program called the Kids in Action, where Mr. Stokes took the time to work with our, I know a lot of us look at Mr. Stokes jumping around town and doing a lot of things that he's always done, which was he always put community first, people and community. So Mr. Stokes pulled us in, and he showed us how important it was to help, to reach out, and to have empathy for other people. Not because the seniors couldn't do their lawn, but because of the fact that the kids could do it faster. And to teach that lesson was so important. Well, little did I know, that lesson would propel me to be the secretary for the Kids in Action program. And then Mr. Stokes encouraged us as children to be the best we could be. He said, you're the secretary for the Kids in Action today, but tomorrow you could be Secretary of State. I didn't know what that meant. I really didn't, but it sounded good. I thought, wow, Secretary of State? I'll be the Secretary of the State of Illinois? But that wasn't necessarily what he was telling me. He was saying, anything you want to do, you can, because it's already in you. Well, then I decided that summer of maybe 85, I was watching Private Benjamin, and I thought, I can do that. Some of you don't know anything about Private Benjamin. She's a television, it was a television show about a young lady who was in the Army. And I thought I could do all of those things that Private Benjamin is doing. So guess what Gloria did? I told my brother Casey, I'm joining the Army. Well, Casey double dared me. He didn't just dare me, he double dared me. Anybody that knows me, I'm competitive. You're not going to double dare me. And I not take the challenge. I took the challenge. We went down to see the recruiters, the two of us. We both joined the United States Army. And my mother looked at me with that look like, you did not just do that. But she said, you know what? There's a lesson to learn in it. She signed the papers. I shipped off, went to the MEP station and did my paperwork, sworn in. I walked into the room with all of these other new military soldiers, and we all had that look in our eyes like, you know what? It just got real. We are in the Army. It's not a joke anymore. Well, after being sworn in, raising my hand to say, I, Gloria Jean Tucker, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to the regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. After being sworn in, we were sent off to Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And at Fort Jackson is where the intake process starts. That's that transformation. You have to change. When we come in to be Christians, you have to make a change. When you go in to join the military, you have to change. All the things that we used to do, all the things we used to wear, it changes. So at Fort Jackson, they transferred me over to Tank Hill. And at Tank Hill, that's where I began to learn how to be the best soldier I can be and to wear that uniform with pride. I learned to march as a unit instead of walking as an individual. I learned to put my curling iron away and put down the makeup, and I had to pick up the helmet. Some of you know about the helmet. I had to put the Gloria Vanderbilt, that was my favorite designer, you guys. Gloria Vanderbilt jeans away, and I had to receive a GI issue uniform, which looked just like the uniform that every other soldier was wearing. I put away the pumps to receive my GI issued boots. Put away the purse and was issued a weapon. Now that weapon could either help you or harm you. And you as a soldier depends on how much you put into your weapon. So your weapon is your Bible. How do we use our Bible? Do we study it often, daily? Do we know what we need to know to be a better soldier in the Army of God versus the Army of the military, the United States Army? Well, this was the first weapon I'd ever handled. And after my drill sergeants worked with us on how to clean these weapons, to take them apart, I began to pride myself on the fact that 15 seconds I could reassemble my weapon, have it cocked and loaded and ready for battle. Well, my drill sergeant, as I got a little bit older in the military, I learned that they had which is a lot like most of our ministers, had a very serious job. His job was to take Mama and Daddy's little girl and transform her into a soldier, to transform her into a soldier who understood the importance of teamwork, loyalty, and being true to who you are. Well, he had to teach us to communicate in military language, which is a little bit different from our civilian language, to survive, whether you're in the wilderness or in a war zone. He also had to teach us to have confidence in ourselves and to be able to support my buddy. I didn't go anywhere without my buddy. I put my buddy before me. If Melissa and I was in a war zone, I have two goals here. We have to accomplish this mission that we've been set out to do, and I also have to make sure that my buddy gets back along with me. And I'm thankful that my mother was never presented with that beautiful flag that our government folds so nicely at the burial for our soldiers. So I thank God, because I know it was no one but God that brought us back home safely. And so once I learned to understand the military code of justice, things just got a lot easier in the military for me. And that helped to transform my thinking as well. Well, I went on to AIT, my job training. Some of you might know that a 71 Lima is simply a clerk typist. I've been a secretary all my life. But being a secretary is a lot more than just processing paperwork. Because of the type of people that you come in contact with, the support that you have to give, that secretary's position is a position where you have to understand that you have the honor of supporting the higher command. If the higher command can't depend on their clerical, on their secretary, on their 71 Limas or 34 Bravos, then the unit is only as strong as the weakest person. So you never want to be that person, no matter what your title is. So, but I also understood, and I don't want you to walk away thinking that everything was great in the military, because I understood that my team wasn't always fair. But because as a woman, you weren't put up for promotions as fast as some of our men counterparts. So you did have to work a little bit harder. That uniform, although we looked alike, we weren't treated alike. And that's just the truth of the matter. Things are changing, but they're changing slowly. You learn team building, that this military is bigger than me. This team that I'm working with is bigger than me. And loyalty is the key. You have to be loyal to the team. So as a reservist, I processed the line of duty investigations and began to understand the importance of being at my post at all times, because many soldiers were injured and didn't come home the way they left because someone wasn't being the professional person that they needed to be at all times. So that was important to me as a reservist. So today, I'd just like to ask that you all remember to pray for our soldiers, and most of all, remember to pray for the mothers of our soldiers. Nothing is more confusing than when you give good advice and then you set a bad example. Praises to God.